Hi everyone, my name is BananaRaccoon and welcome to my level 100 PvP guide for feral druids in Warlords of Draenor. In this guide I'll be going over the talents, glyphs, macros, add-ons, stat priorities, enchants and rotations for feral druids. As this guide will be quite long, you can click on the title for each section which will take you to that part of the guide. However, I do recommend watching the entire guide to get a full understanding of level 100 feral PvP. If anyone has any questions, feel free to post them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as fast as possible. For the first row of talents we have Feline Swiftness, Displace a Beast and Wild Charge. The most viable talent to take for ferals is a Wild Charge. Not only is it a powerful gap closer, but it can be used in a variety of different ways. For example, on maps which have multiple levels like Blade's Edge, if you're on the bottom level but your target is on the top level, you can leap up to them if they are in line of sight. Also, if you're not in a form, you can fly to a friendly target to create a gap close, and even eat a Hunter's Trap for your healer. If used in bear form, your charge will immobilize a target, and in travel form, you will leap forwards 20 yards. Next we have Ysera's Gift, Renewal, and Cenarian Ward. The two most viable options are Cenarian Ward and Ysera's Gift. Ysera's Gift is a passive that heals you for 4% of your maximum health every 5 seconds, and if you are at full health, a random nearby injured ally will be healed instead. The main drawback for this talent is that if you are at 99% health and your partner is low, Ysera's Gift will still be healing you. Cenarian Ward is an instant cast with a 30-second cooldown. It protects a friendly target for 30 seconds, and when they take damage they will be healed for a nice amount over 6 seconds. This is an incredibly strong talent when used with Heart of the Wild. The reason why Renewal is not particularly viable is due to its long cooldown, which makes it weaker than Ysera's Gift and Cenarian Ward. Next we have Fairy Swarm, Mass Entanglement and Typhoon. Generally, the best talent to take here is Typhoon. Typhoon is an instant cast with a 30-second cooldown which knocks back and dazes enemies in front of you within 15 yards. This is good to interrupt spellcasting, knock enemies out of the sight of their healer, or to knock enemies to a different level. For example, if you're on the top level of Blades of Draenor, you can knock down enemies to the ground level. Mass Entanglement is the other talent I may take. Mass Entanglement is an instant cast with a 30-second cooldown that roots a target and additional nearby enemies. This can be good against comps such as TSG to try and peel them off you or your teammates. Our fourth row of talents are Soul of the Forest, Incarnation and Force of Nature. The best two talents here for PvP are Incarnation and Force of Nature. Incarnation is a big burst ability which is instant with a 3-minute cooldown, and when active we can prowl in combat and cause a shred and rake to function as if we are stealthed. It lasts 30 seconds. Incarnation does a lot of damage, and with crit now being our main stat, is the best talent to take, but if you're against a decent team, they will try and CC you as much as possible when Incarnation is active, which is a big drawback to this talent. Force of Nature is an instant ability with 3 charges. Each charge takes 20 seconds to recharge. With this ability, you can summon treants which will root the target, deal physical damage, and apply additional rakes to the target. This talent can be good as it's a nice burst when using all 3 ents, and will still be doing damage whilst you are CC'd, and additional rakes are a good source of dot damage. Next we have Incapacitating Roar, Ursul's Vortex and Mighty Bash. The two viable options here are Incapacitating Roar and Mighty Bash. Incapacitating Roar is an AoE ability with a 30-second cooldown that will incapacitate all enemies in 10 yards for 3 seconds. Mighty Bash is a 5-second stun on a 50-second cooldown. Which talent here depends on what comp you are running. When running Kitty Cleave or Ebola Cleave, you want to run with Incapacitating Roar so you do not DR with the DK and Warrior stuns. And when running with FMP, Jungle Cleave and FPS, I will go with Mighty Bash. Usually in duels I will go Mighty Bash as well, as Incapacitating Roar is cancelled on damage. For our 6th tier of talents we have Heart of the Wild, Dream Scenarius and Nature's Vigil. All 3 of these talents are very viable, and which one you choose will depend on the situation. Heart of the Wild has a very long cooldown of 6 minutes, but during its duration you can keep you or your partner topped whilst your healer is either being CC'd or out of sight, as the talent increases our healing output by a ton. I also take Heart of the Wild for duels. Dream of Scenarios is a passive talent that increases the output of our healing touch and rejuvenation by 20%. Also, our healing touches and rejuvenations also heal us when we cast it on a friendly target. This talent will be good against comps that spread pressure like Shadow Cleave. Finally, Nature's Vigil is an instant ability with a 1.5 minute cooldown. While active, all single target healing and damage abilities heal a friendly target based on the amount done, 30% for heals and 40% for damage. This is good when used with Incarnation and comps that involve a lot of lost single healers such as Kitty Cleave and Ebola Cleave. And finally we have Lunar Inspiration, Blood Talons, and Claws of Shivala. Blood Talons is the best talent to take here, but it does take a while to learn how to use it efficiently. Blood Talons is a passive. Whenever you cast Healing Touch, your next 2 melee abilities deal 30% additional damage. You'll want to line these procs up with your finishers, Ferocious Bite and Rip. There are some downsides to Blood Talons. Our PS procs, which give us our instant healing touches, can be purged, and if you need to use Healing Touch to keep your partner alive, you won't be getting the optimum damage increase from this talent. If you are new to Feral and don't want to deal with the increased difficulty of Blood Talons, I would recommend taking Claws of Shivala. Claws of Shivala is a passive talent that gives us 5% versatility, which is a new stat that increases our damage, increases the damage we take, and increases our healing. Claws of Shivala also lets us cast Cyclone, Healing Touch, and Entangling Roots in cat form. For the first glyph slot, you're going to either want to take Glyph of Cat form or Glyph of Ninth Life. Glyph of Cat form increases the healing done to you by 20% whilst in cat form, and Ninth Life reduces damage taken whilst in cat form by 10%. For 1v1s and 2v2s, I will generally take Glyph of Cat form, and for 3v3s, I will usually ask my healer which glyph they will want me to take. For the second slot, I will recommend the Glyph of Savage Roar, which gives us a 3-5 combo point Savage Roar whilst using stealth abilities and when using abilities in Incarnation. I personally feel this is too strong of a glyph not to take. For the third slot, you have a bit of a choice. You can either choose Glyph of Rake, Glyph of Cyclone, Glyph of Ferocious Bite, or Glyph of Dash. Glyph of Rake increases the range of a Proud Rake by 8 yards, making our openers easier to get off. Glyph of Cyclone increases the range of a Cyclone by 5 yards. Glyph of Ferocious Bite heals you for 1.5% of your maximum health for each 10 energy used when using Ferocious Bite. And finally, Glyph of Dash reduces the cooldown of Dash from 3 minutes to 2 minutes. I'd personally go with Glyph of Rake or Glyph of Cyclone, but whichever one you take is up to you. Our one-shot macro is hash show tooltip Berserk, /cast Tiger's Fury, /cast Incarnation King of the Jungle, /cast Nature's Vigil, /use 13 and /cast Berserk. Make sure your on-use trinket is in the top trinket slot. Power Shift is a macro that allows us to shift roots and snares but stay in our current form, which is hash show tooltip cat form, /cast open bracket stance colon 1 close bracket space exclamation mark bear form, /cast open bracket stance colon 2 close bracket space exclamation point cat form, /cast open bracket stance colon 3 close bracket space exclamation mark travel form. This is Focus Cyclone. This will allow you to clone your focus target without changing targets. This is show tooltip Cyclone, /cast open bracket at focus close bracket Cyclone. This is Focus Bash and it will do the same thing. Hash show tooltip Mighty Bash, /cast open bracket at focus close bracket Mighty Bash. This is the Focus Kick macro. This will allow you to kick your focus target without changing target. So it's hash show tooltip Skull Bash, /cast open bracket at focus close bracket Skull Bash. This is our Cleanse macro. This will allow us to get rid of curses and poisons on a friendly target such as Hex and Wyvern Sting. This macro allows you to do this without changing your current target. So it's hash show tooltip remove corruption, /cast at whichever your teammate's name is, close bracket, remove corruption. Just like our Cleanse macro, this will allow you to cast Snaring Ward on a friendly target without changing your current target. So it's hash show tooltip Snaring Ward, /cast open bracket at the player's name, close bracket Snaring Ward. I do this for Healing Touch and Rejuvenation as well. This macro is for Wild Charge, and it allows you to fly to a friendly target's position to either eat a trap, create a gap, or gap close. You do have to press this macro twice for it to work though. It's hash show tooltip Wild Charge, /cancel form, open bracket at player's name, close bracket Wild Charge. This is my target kick macro. This will allow you to kick an enemy team member without changing your current target. All you do is change the arena 1 to whatever number they are. So it's hash show tooltip Skull Bash, /cast open bracket at arena either 1, 2 or 3, close bracket Skull Bash. This is my target Fairy Fire macro, which will allow me to Fairy Fire a rogue, druid or priest without changing targets to stop them from re-stealthing. It's hash show tooltip Fairy Fire, /cast open bracket at arena whichever number they are, either 1, 2 or 3, close bracket Fairy Fire. For add-ons, I use Bartender, Weak Auras, Omni CC, Gladiator Losa, and Tidy Plates. Tidy Plates is the add-on that changes the nameplates of enemy targets. Weak Auras lets me track my Savage Roar and bleeds. Omni CC shows the cooldowns left on certain abilities. Gladiator Losa is an arena add-on that will track enemy trinkets as well as tell you when certain abilities like Cyclone are being used. Our stat priority will go like this: Agility, Crit, Multistrike, Versatility or Mastery, and then finally Haste. Multistrike and versatility are both new stats. Multistrike gives our healing and damage the chance to instantly strike again for 30% of the damage or healing. This includes our dots like rake and rip. Versatility increases our damage, reduces the damage we take, and increases our healing output. For our neck, cloak, and rings, you want to use the enchant Gift of Critical Strike or Breath of Critical Strike if you are low on money. And for your weapon, you want to go with the Mark of the Thunderlord enchant. Gems currently aren't on PvP gear, but should they be implemented in the future, you want to strictly gem Greater Critical Strike on any gem slot. Just like rogues, ferals rely on combo points to use abilities known as finishers. Our finishers are Savage Roar, which increases our damage when active by 40%, Rip is our bleed finisher, Ferocious Bite is our big damage finisher, and Maim is a finisher that does a small amount of damage and stuns. Maim is only ever used as a last resort if a stun is desperately needed. Our finisher priority will go like this: Savage Roar, Rip, and then Ferocious Bite. The only times you'll use Ferocious Bite over Rip is if the target is below 25% health, as Ferocious Bite refreshes Rip when used on targets below 25% health. If I see my Rip is about to fall off, I will use a Ferocious Bite regardless of how many combo points I have to refresh the Rip. The only other time is when your target is at very low health and you know you can kill the target within the Ferocious Bite or very soon after. Although for most classes snapshotting has been removed, for ferals our damage modifier abilities such as Tiger's Fury, Blood Talons and Savage Roar still snapshot. Snapshotting is when you use abilities such as Rake and Rip with damage modifier so the ticks are stronger. When applying bleeds and using Ferocious Bite, you want to try and line them up with Tiger's Fury, Blood Talons and Savage Roar as much as possible for the optimum damage. When prowling or incarnated, your rakes also do 100% additional damage. If you have a damage modifier active, you will want to make sure you reapply your bleeds if the current bleeds are not snapshotted. To do the maximum amount of damage, you want to constantly have the Savage Roar buff active. You want to make sure your rake is always on the target and a 5 combo point rip is up on the target as much as possible. As a feral, our openers are very important to get a nice bit of early pressure in to get the upper hand against our opponents. Our opener will go like this: Prowl, Rake, which will then activate your Savage Roar glyph, Shred to 5 combo points, but make sure you use Tiger's Fury when around 30 to 40 energy, and then at 5 combo points use Rip. Prowl, Rake, Shred, Shred, Tiger's Fury, Shred again, full Rip. In PvP, we don't really have a set rotation. The only thing we have to make sure is that our Savage Roar buff is active and our bleeds are up on the target. If Rake is up, we will use Shred to build combo points. If you are at 5 combo points and Rip won't fall off by the time you next get 5 combo points, you're either going to want to use Ferocious Bite for the big damage or Maim for the stun. Our burst rotation will go like this: use burst macro, reapply Rake for the snapshotted Rake, spam Shred to 5 combo points, and then use Rip or Ferocious Bite if Rip is active on the target. With Berserk active, you will want to be spamming Shred to 5 combo points as fast as you can and then either Ferocious Bite or Rip. One thing to remember is that when incarnated, Rake also stuns a target, so only apply Rake if you can DR stuns. So, burst macro, Rake, Shred, 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 Rip, Shred, 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 apply Bad Hands, First Bite, Shred, Shred, Rake, apply Bad Hands, Shred, First Bite, and repeat. Thank you all for watching, and I hope this guide has been helpful. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as fast as possible. If you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe if you want to see some more guides and feral PvP. Cheers.